Yes, and welcome. We are back after another little hiatus, aren't we, Quinny? But as I understand, is this episode 100 or 101? Which one is it?
I thought 100, but when the thumbnail and everything get made, I'm sure that's been double checked. And yeah, it looks like it's 101. I think we got to the 100 mark in between some sort of hiatuses and all the rest of it. But yeah, I've got it down for 101.
Nice, nice. Yeah, when you hit me up the other week and said, "Should we do it?" I thought, yeah, it'd be good to chat about. Well, I'm just kind of keen to hear I haven't had a catch up with you, off camera about this. So I've been following your updates on the channel and seeing what people have been sort of the chit chat, the back and forth online has been quite interesting. But I think the dust has settled a little bit now on what was that big announcement of like what Sorare 26 was going to look like. So keen now that we've all had a bit of time to digest it and I guess experience it as well with the first sort of game week in SO7's history behind us now. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to having a chat with you and figuring out a little bit discussion back and forth about what your plans for next season are. And I'm sure we'll get some good input from people in the chat as well. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Likewise, Stishy Boy. I say, yeah, look, it's always the same between episodes whenever we have had any kind of like extended periods of like not recording or whatever. The time just disappears in so many different ways, you know. So definitely looking forward to this one myself. And I kind of looked ahead to the calendar. I thought, when the hell is the season starting? And I thought, do you know what? If we can get together this week, kind of going forward, maybe we're just about done a wee bit of the duties of summer holidays, and it should work out. The chat is flying away, guys. Thanks to everyone that's joined us live and loud. Be sure to smash the like button and all that good stuff. But the first thing, Stishy Boy, we all want to hear from yourself for sure is, what colour is your loyalty box did you get from Sorare?
Let's have a quick look. I mean, like, I haven't seen the shades, but it looks pretty gold to me on my.
Golden.
Let's have a look. I mean, so if I go to the reveal, the boxes, yeah, I mean, it looks pretty gold. It looks like a golden one.
If you click on the little eye in the top corner, if you're on desktop, it'll tell you.
Okay, loyalty box gold. Yeah,
Ooh, same as me. So we're both gold boys.
I'm excited for that. What do you think? What do you think it's going to be? I'm kind of expecting like a lump of essence in there.
Yeah, I think like everyone is kind of like, yeah, essence and credits, some sort of combo of those two could be easy for them to stick in there. But I really hope that there's a third element that's in all the boxes on some sort of grade from good. So the top one was like platinum or diamond or something, but there's that one, then gold, silver, bronze, and I don't know if there's anything beneath bronze. The chat, I'm sure, will be able to tell us. But yeah, I hope there's some sort of other like X factor kind of thing in there, and it's not just XP essence credits, you know, like
Yeah.
there's a little like Christmas cracker kind of just basic stuff in it, you know. I hope there's something else in it that's a wee bit special.
Yeah, it'd be nice to win something tangible as well. Like to be fair, I did end up using quite a lot of market credits recently. I got when the sort of hot streaks was re-announced and stuff like that. I was looking at the market. I didn't want to jump straight into the brand new in seasons like the sort of pre-launch cards. I found the prices of them to be insane. But I guess if you're playing individual divisions like the Jupiler League or something like that. But it might be one of those things that I join later on down the line if I win a card or two from the division. But yeah, I think I wouldn't mind a few market credits. Quite keen to get involved in some of the in-season activity as it rolls out, and just as the prices cool down a little bit as well, as we'll expect. Some of the prices at the minute are absolutely insane for some of the like cards, given the current utility of them outside of their own kind of in-season competitions. We're talking multiple hundreds of pounds for cards that have not even got European midweek football. It's nuts, but actually, when you think about it, it's hard to compare that to anything in the past because everything seems to be a little bit more split up into in-season. But if history is anything to go by, there's, I'm sure, chances that we'll get little specials through the season, in-season Champions League, in-season European contender or whatever, which will be I guess, Europa and that. So that's definitely something that I'm kind of thinking about a little bit when I'm looking at the price of these cards and as and when I'll potentially enter the market. I did pick up one. This is a proper Sorare historical Sorare, and especially for my gallery as well. This is a guy who's not been shy to a card or two in my gallery down the seasons. But I was up late at night and I looked on the auctions, and there was a Luca Oyen number 1 of 10 super rare, and there was no bids on it, and I felt a bit sad for him, so I put I've got another Luca Oyen card in the gallery. Yeah,
He's the puppy in the shelter, no one's taken home.
he's one of those ones. It's just like that is like he's that's so rare heritage to me. Like, just a shame he's never managed to string more than a few appearances together for horrendous injuries. So yeah, I think he is currently injured again, but hopefully he's not got too much longer before he gets another shot in the first team. But yeah, that was about as far as the sort of like pre-release cards have gone. I think that's all I've picked up. I've just been picking up random sort of contender in season bits from Asia, Japan, a couple of J League cards, and then a few other people who like moved. Like I picked up like Saul because he's gone to Brazil. Thought he might be a fun card. Got his in season. He's not played there yet, but he should do once he establishes himself out there. But yeah, what about you? What have you been dipping into in the market?
Well, I think with the return of thresholds as they kind of build it, but hot streaks as it is in reality, I've kind of, I think the End Product Podcast, we've probably got some good kind of pages written in previous episodes about waiting for those early auctions to kind of roll out, wait for the peaks to come off the prices, wait for them to kind of go back to somewhere closer to normal or whatever. But this year, I've kind of done the opposite of that. I've kind of tried to go after early mints as quick as possible to get in for like the double up and the throwback promotions that they've got running in conjunction on the streaks being even easier. And, I'm kind of looking at it as the first. I've got a video, I can't remember when it came out. Oh, it came out yesterday, maybe, I think, talking about, like, it's just called Celtic Strategy or whatever, but it kind of goes through hot streaks or whatever. I might need to retitle it. But I'm kind of mainly looking at the first, like, 5-6 games of the season that run through that promotion and trying to capture it, because the hot streaks, like, we all kind of see what it is, right? I'm not going to be saying anything here that no one's aware of, right? But one thing that I do think is kind of underestimated or underappreciated is that in the old threshold system, like, it was just the $50 every week, $200 every week at super rare, $5 every week at limited. There was never any escalation of it. And the streaks, man, like, the escalation is lovely. Like, if you have like a good month or two, like, it will show itself. So I see the value in kind of getting in early and trying to get every run, because you do need to run up the streak. You can't just like, I scored 510 with my first try and got the top score. It's not going to, also, it doesn't work like that. So you need as many runs at the hill as you can get. So I've kind of looked at it from that perspective and got, like, I've got 3 lineups that will go out this game week, but I've got like 2 or 3 cards that I've got in season. I've got 2 cards that I've got in season utility, 3 cards for one more game, and then they lose it because Premier League cards will be out and whatever. So I've got 3 teams for this weekend of early access that I've bought, but it's probably closer, to like 2.5 teams after I lose a little bit of that, perhaps. And yeah, I'm all about starting off with the Celtic stuff and trying to run up and down the streaks. I've got quite good. I'm looking forward to Champ this year, as well. I'm quite excited for that. I think it'll be quite tricky, and I'm just trying to think of a coherent point to leave this off to pass back to you on where we've been. But I was about to say, Champ is a little bit tricky this year because and again, I've had a lot of comments actually in videos. To be absolutely clear, the only classic competitions that are nailed on, guaranteed, is under 23, All-Star, and Champ. There's no Belgian Classic, there's no French Classic, there's no anything else. There might be arenas and specials and whatever that'll open up, but that is like the core competitions, as they call it, I think, in the gameplay announcements or whatever. But with Champ, it's completely the opposite for in-season. There is no in-season Champ this year. It is only, in fact, 4 league competitions that are in-season, not the 5, of course, it's the 4. The Italians can play in with Celtic and whatever for in-season or for classic spots in in-season comps. But by winning in Champ, crafting or pulling cards, like, I'm not really planning on going into the market too much. So, like, the cards you naturally, organically acquire, all of them to land into a perfect little batch of, oh, they're all Premier League or they're all La Liga or whatever. That's actually going to be quite a difficult thing to navigate. It almost certainly guarantees you'll need to trade or buy your way into some stuff.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm quite excited for Champ as a sub note.
I've got plenty of cards to play with, I think, in that respect. It's been quite interesting the first sort of couple of weeks and just looking at like what you can build now in the next couple of game weeks ahead. Just getting my head around like if you're better off like pushing more lineups into the arena or like gung ho going for, you know, the SO7 at U23 or All-Star. I was a bit unfortunate, I think, in a couple of lineups this week just gone where I had like full-blown DMPs. So I think there's still a little bit of teething issues there, still like making that transition without Sorare data as well. I'm noticing, you know, obviously there's like different kind of metrics on like the potential player selection percentages and just little things like not being able to see what the lineup is. I mean, maybe you need to be on the Sorare Inside website or something like that as well to see that. But I can see sort of my players' percentages, but I can't see what the sort of predicted 11 is, which is a bit of a pet peeve for me at the moment. Because one thing I always used to do was like if I sort of was surprised to find a player's percentage was low, I'd have a look at the 11 and be like, oh, he's on a ban or he's injured, therefore. And the lack of that information on the main Sorare website compared to like Sorare data or what was the other one? Play Sharper in the past. I haven't really got into Sorare Inside as much. I don't know if I need to go on a website to look at that or if I need to be in a Discord channel or what. But that might be a part of why I suffered a few DMPs on the weekend unexpectedly, which is really annoying when you spend 100 essence to join arena and your captain is a DMP. It's like you just burnt 100 essence then to do that, which that puts me off a little bit rolling out like multiple arena lineups as well, because you are gambling a little bit. But then you're also gambling ultimately when you hit go on the vault, aren't you? So it's like that's what essence is there for. I suppose it's almost like a side game in its own, isn't it? But I'll be intrigued to see what kind of cards people are pulling from these from the new vaults, because I haven't had a go just yet. I might be able to have a go today once my essence lands from the game week just gone. I should have enough to do a craft and see what that's all about.
Should be fun. I think you're kind of onto something there with the arena, because I've not been that mad for it, and there is some people that have been going head over heels for it. I was annoyed with the few times I've played it that it doesn't have late swap in it, because like you say, if you're spending the essence, you get the team sheet out, you see your guys not in the team, like it feels like a swift kick to the nuts, you know, like you know, it's not just a DNP in a team, but it's a DNP in a team with some collateral against it, you know. So it's definitely a swift kick to the plums. That's what
I don't know if the game was postponed or cancelled or what, but before the game week had even really started, they went from having a fixture to not having one, and that would have really helped me.
I know Houston LA Galaxy get called off for weather. I had that bite me.
So I had that game, or I think a game in Peru or something like that as well, where I had Rui Diaz playing, and I think I had him captain in one of my arena teams. And their game was either, I don't know if the fixture was moved or postponed, but pretty soon into the game week closing, he was showing up as no fixture. That was a bit annoying.
Rui Diaz has been fun in Peru, hasn't he?
Yeah. I picked him up straight away on the news. I was like, this is going to be a good, cheap forward option, I think. And Diaz has been pretty good to have. Like, been banging goals in. He doesn't get much by way of all around, but he hits a fair few decisive actions. So, yeah, he's been a good little purchase, I think. It's nice to have that potential then.
I've had fun with him. But I think if you can strike out good in arena, like his, you know, the kind of problem I was talking about there, getting in-season cards like somewhat organically, it does take its time. You know, whereas if you can supercharge your essence acquisition through arena, like you could craft like a rake of cards within a month or something like that. You know, you could really go for it. and get some cards into your gallery quite swiftly. But yeah, it's the risk reward. It doesn't really do it for me just yet. You know, I think maybe like late swaps or something like that would help me play it a bit better or a bit more, you know, seriously is maybe the way of putting it, I guess. But yeah, so the arena thing will definitely play with some people because, like I was saying to you, Stish, one thing I did want to talk about today, and I'll just go and fire this up on screen, is arena will still be SO5, of course, but All-Star Under 23 Champ, these classic core comps that we mentioned, are SO7. Now, this weekend gone, we had our first ever. Now, it's not a perfect sample size because of the competitions that were there and not there, but we had our first weekend of SO7. Me and Harry Trades were on a deadline show on Friday, Stish, and we asked the audience higher or lower on the top score in All-Star. I think we said limited, in fact, in the end, didn't we? 760 something, I think it was, wasn't it? And I think everyone went lower, or maybe it went higher. I'll need to double check. But the top score was 719.7. Let's just call it 720. When you see that, Stishy boy, does it surprise you?
No, not really. I mean, I think one thing I noticed straight away was when I'm selecting my teams, it makes like gaps in your team glare quite a lot. And I think if you haven't got 7 clear starters, you'll almost start looking at SO5 as a better option just because you're less likely, there's less potential pitfalls there. And it meant for me that I was looking at my gallery like U23. I've got quite a few goalkeepers, and I've now got quite a few goalies. I think where like the price of goalies went a bit more normal, I picked up goalkeepers, and then obviously the rules changed. So there's now like you can use a similar amount of cards, but you've got less lineups because we've got SO7 in the mix. So it's been a bit annoying where I'll go into a game week and I won't have used like 3 or 4 goalkeepers because I haven't got enough defenders or I haven't got enough midfielders to fill the SO7 slots. So I think it obviously is good for. I think it's good for people like us who've been in the game a long time and have quite a flexible gallery that, you know, goes across multiple parts of the season and fixtures, and it's yeah. And I think that again, like I don't know if it's just because of the time of season we're at now, but the scores in arena I don't think are particularly high. Like I think I finished first in one of the arena, and my goalkeeper scored a 22. Do you know what I mean? And I managed to still finish first in it. So I can't imagine it must be pretty uniform across the platform at the minute that this is not a good situation for people with small to medium sized galleries that are a little bit more focused within a division. And I think we're only going to get more of that now as people go in season. Their gallery might only over the course of the next few years, they might only buy Premier League or they might only buy SPFL, or do you know what I mean? Where before you wanted to be everywhere anyway. And I bought some MLS cards to join in the threshold fun because I'd won a few, and I think they're at a pretty good price point now with enough utility. You know, they're going into the Leagues Cup and stuff as well. That gives them a bit of all-star action over the next few weeks as well. So another thing as well is I think like the MLS, we're not getting any of the sort of playoff fixtures show up in their calendars at the minute because obviously we don't know who's going to make the playoffs, and so there's actually quite a lot of utility for like the top end of the MLS cards as well that we can't see yet. So I think there's a lot of value in picking up a cheap MLS. You know, if you've got a goalkeeper or a forward or a half decent scorer in a classic, just fill the gaps with a few in seasons, and yeah, especially where the current double ups and all that. It's like, why wouldn't you have a go? Like you can probably win back your investment if you can get a few good weeks out of the players that you pick up. And I think I've managed since I did that. I think I hit threshold the first week, and then I think I hit another one yesterday, and yeah, it's like it seems to be going to plan up to this point, at least for me. So I think I will definitely be watching the prices on some of the other divisions and leagues that have their own kind of in-season competition, because I could see myself getting sucked into the FOMO, not having an Eredivisie lineup or having a bit more SPFL exposure or something like that. But I've definitely got I've got good cards in Classic. That helps. That's what makes it appealing to me. Is like you don't have to pick up like the smashers. If you can pick up a few like dependable AA players that can pick up a decisive here or there, and you pair that with like one of their big hitters, if you're fortunate enough to have one, then yeah, you can hit those thresholds quite nicely. And I think that was something I probably have been missing for a little while, where I wasn't really involved in season that much last season. I think this might be a good thing. This might be what I think. I don't know what you were like, but when the announcement came out about 26, I was a bit like, this is bad. This is awful. And now I'm like, maybe this is exactly what they needed to do, because if it's re-engaged people like you and I to like buy in again, considering the size of the galleries we've got and the money we put into it up to this point, then they must be doing something right. And I think it just boils down to the game is fun, like regardless of the rule changes. And yeah, the price is going to come up and down, but if you can kind of swallow that and get on with it, you don't have to shell out for the big players. There's ways and means to skin a cat differently playing this game. And I've always been about the scouting and trying to find the underpriced players and the players who I think are going to hit the next patch of form. Or yeah, and I think that's where I'm at with it now. Again, is right. The game's changed, but it's still playable and it's still feasible. There's definitely ways and means of like potentially having a profitable season. If not, you should definitely be looking at breaking even on your purchases. And if you get lucky with a craft or two, you could be laughing. Really, I'm still trying to get my head around the crafting as well. I'm kind of waiting to see what the reaction is over the next week or so. People who've like done it, to see if people are overall kind of happy with what they end up crafting, or if they're like chopping these cards back in for like a little bit of their essence back. Yeah, I don't know. Have you given it much thought yet?
I'm waiting on my crafting to get more essence in. The Celtic moving region, I actually don't have any challenger essence, so I actually don't have the ability to actually craft any Celtic cards now, which is weird. So I need to win some essence from that region. I also just need to wait for the machine to fill up with stuff. I do have like champ and La Liga essence from last year also. So again, I don't want to go playing with it until those cards are in. And I did quite nice on I was stashing my essence anyway since the end of the European season last year. The last thing I crafted at Rare was Moses Caicedo, and it was like one of those, like they halved the amount you could do. I don't know if you remember that promotion, but it was like maybe February or something.
I think I did.
That was the last
week, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last thing I did, and I'm sure it was anyway. And would you cry it? So the conversion thing worked out quite nicely for me, and I've got enough classics where I should hoover up some essence quite quickly, and if I'm not going on arenas early, like it should build up quite nicely. So I've got just about 6,500 sitting there now at Rare, which I think is like 6 pools if I don't use any of the cards or whatever. Nep's done some great content because he's just been turning and burning. He's just been going for it and playing it. So he's got some good like exposure content around it, as it were, like showing you it all and that kind of thing. One thing I did want to say about before we leave this, the chat picked up it as well, but the goalkeeper's got 28 points here. You know, finishing top of All-Star, carrying a player in any position with 28 points is, I don't know if I would call it encouraging, but even though you need some big scores, there's 200s in there, the captain's on 97, I get it.
The captain's definitely. I think if you get the captain right, you're still up with a chance. If your captain has a poor game, it can be a lineup killer now. I think it's as good as a DMP. If your captain's got anything under like 40, you're probably not going to be in the top 5-10. But you can afford, if your captain's like, almost like doubling their score, it's like having an extra player. Like I find the captain pick is like the one now. You, especially looking at that, the goalkeeper score being that low. And like I said, the same thing happened to me with my arena team. I think I finished top of my arena and my goalkeeper let 4 goals in. So yeah, the captain pick saved me in that one as well.
The guy in second was like 17 points behind, essentially.
Yeah.
What's done him?
That looks like a decent enough lineup there, doesn't it? Who's the captain? 94. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good lineup there, yeah.
And then finish the podium. Vaco season, wasn't it? This guy will be gutted as well, by the way.
Yeah, that's a
57 Marvin hits there, you know.
That's it. He's got 200s in there and a 91.
Captain Rom.
I think I had him captained in one of my teams this weekend as well.
Yeah, I think if this guy captained one of the 90 plus scores, he wins, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite a big swing.
I quite like how this is all kind of displayed, but so you get the band. So this is everyone that won a star is in this top 15. So you get obviously the recognition for the top guy, and then this is 15th. You know, so that just gives you a nice idea of you needed at least 650 points this game week for a star.
Right.
So I think that'll be good, kind of like us, you know, things for us just to follow with the competitions we play through the season, the way they display it. It's quite cool. Tier 1, it's the same kind of thing. Guy in 16th and the guy in 40th. And you can see, like, for a tier 1, very narrow.
Yeah.
646 to 625. It's like 16 points for the whole band, isn't it? We've seen that gap between first and second, even. And then tier 2, 628 to 606, 12-point gap in that kind of range. Very narrow, very tight. And then for where you get to essence, it's 606.6, you know, so you're right on the bubble there between card and no card.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see how it kind of shakes out there.
That 1,000 essence is essentially what it costs to do an essence draw now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you get it's almost the same as winning a card in that sense. I'm just having
any tier.
Yeah, I'm having a little look at the sort of the draw odds, trying to make sense of it. So from what I understand, then you pay 1,000 essence and you've got the same chance. Well, you can win a star with that 1,000 essence, but it's just low. You can't like bump up your chances of winning a star now. It's more like the hints, right? You can pay a bit more for a hint that then obviously gives you a bit more chance of picking a card that you think might be good. But essentially, every draw costs 1,000 essence, and the odds are the same every time, right? Is that right? It's not like
but sometimes you'll come into like a lucky one or a bonus one. So sometimes it'll come up and it will say tier 2 pool or something.
Right.
And that means like every card is tier 2 or better. You'll get ones that will say like a star, and I think it's like there is like the odd one where it's like so this is the ones here, special tier 2, and it's like guaranteed like tier 2 or better, 2% of a star in that. Special star means that there will be one card guaranteed,
right?
And that you just need to find it. And then special full star is 50-50 between tier 1s and star, so you get that kind of gauge. So I think a wee bit of the chat now from everyone is kind of like these cards, like you kind of only really want to use them if you know you're in a star category kind of situation, you know.
Yeah.
Or do you want to do it with the cheapos to make sure you don't get K-League guys when you don't want them?
I suppose so. Reveal League is a nice one if your gallery is a little bit more focused, and it's like you really don't want you might not want an Eredivisie card if most of your gallery is like J League, and you're kind of hopeful that you get something useful or something that boosts a bit of your collection bonus or something maybe. But,
and then you see all the cards you never picked as well. You see what they were.
Oh, that's painful, isn't it? You're going to see some bad losses, definitely. But I think when the essence comes in later, I might give this a go. Be quite keen to see how it works, and I suppose it's even going to be really good to do it now. Like obviously there's certain things they said that they're gonna start shortening up a little bit, like or pushing up the price of the hints and stuff like that. But you'd like to think that like they fail forwards with this a little bit, and maybe like you get a bit luckier now, and they stop giving away all the good rewards in a few weeks once they make changes to how it works or something. But so yeah, part of me is like, I want to get involved in this now, but I just haven't got the essence at the minute. You can see there's 6,460. Like I spent a lot of my essence just before the end of the season because I just felt like it was going to get nerfed. I was like, this is going to get nerfed. I'll just use it now, try and get like a tier 3 plus. And I didn't really get anything that useful. Got a couple of alright limited ones, but nothing particularly good in rare. And I wish I just held on to it now, to be honest. Would have been quite a nice amount. I could have crafted a couple, had a bit of fun there.
I had to hold, man. I had to hold. I didn't, in season last year for me was kind of like, I did my whole profit video, like, and whatever. So if anyone's not caught that on the channel, feel free to go and watch it. And I just about, like, I think I made profit, but it was a real budget, slow grind, particularly with, the Celtic stuff was a bit more expensive and maybe a bit more, like it came in once or twice to kind of help that. But with the champ stuff, it was like waiting for Valencia stacks to be budget and Sociedad's and crap like that, and then random crafts here and there maybe help me. I won Salah at one point, obviously ends up trading that for Rafinha, but that came really late in the season also. And that was part of the, don't I say regret, maybe a lesson learned or whatever, but that from last year I did think, yeah, I really did miss out on some, because again, like I think Sorare, one of the unquantifiable elements of it is like the compounding effect on winning early. Like we all know the kind of compounding effect on winning that you generally get. Like you win better cards, better teams, win more often, win money, buy more cards, whatever. But particularly for like in season, the mode that it is, you do need to get some wins on the board early, get some cards into your gallery by, for lack of a better term, organic means, like you've crafted it or won it or whatever. Maybe you get involved in some of these mega cart promotions. I don't know if you've seen them, but put 5 cards in your cart, get 1 free and all that stuff. Maybe you can do a bit of that now. It's maybe a bit more manufactured than organic, but I think that was something I felt last year. Like if I had a good season, but if I had a few more wins earlier on, I think I would have sprinkled in a few more wins later on off the back of that momentum or that kind of gain that I would have made on top of the ones that I already had, so particularly with the main strategy, in my case at Celtic, I felt that, I've kind of seen how this pans out and I can push the boat out earlier with a reason, but it needs to be a coherent strategy. And I think where these things normally fall down is you either go, 1 foot in, 1 foot out on it, or you well, I suppose that probably summarizes all the things you could do. But yeah, you need to kind of go and commit to it and follow through with the kind of main plan. So I thought if I get 2 squads of like decent quality, I should be able to run these streaks for the first month or so, and that early season kind of W I never got last year should make a difference for how the rest of the season kind of dominoes.
Yeah, I'd definitely be hoping for some in-season activity. Like if you get lucky with a craft or whatever, like you said, you also got that potential resale value. Like at the early stage of the season is very different to what it would be. But then I think that like people are incentivized to buy from the market a lot more now, where they've got the credits and they've got the like the first owner bonuses and things like that people are looking at now. I find it probably would be a bit more difficult to sell a card now that you'd won. And I'm pretty sure if you craft something now, you can't sell it for 2 weeks or something like that. So it is hard. So I think like where before you could sell a good reward pretty quickly if like it was a player that people were after. I think now that there's a lot more incentive to just buy it from like be the first owner of it than unless you can make a trade work, which if you've got a good in-season card, I'm sure trading would be a lot easier than it is to get rid of a lot of like your end of the season cards or players that are aging out of U23 and all that kind of stuff. But on the subject of U23, I don't know about your gallery or how much you're involved in it, but I feel like a lot of players aged out this year. Like it feels like it's mad to me. Like some of the players that did, it's almost like you forget that these people are getting older because you come into the platform and you buy these kids at like 19 years old, and you go in to line them up this weekend and they're not there. I'm like, where are they? It's like, oh, he's 24 now, 25. It's like, what? Where's the time gone? How is Kosei Tani not under 23 anymore? I don't make it make sense, Quinny.
Yeah, we live in a world where Kosei Tani isn't U23. I think that's the kind of reality check we've all just had this summer, isn't it? I've definitely had a bit of that this year. Kosei Tani is the number one, and that's kind of where I kind of fall down now is under 23 next year. Like I don't really have that nailed on keeper to play for bits of the season like Tani has always been for the last like 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've still got some players and some options and whatever. I was actually chatting on a stream recently how under 23 might be a sneaky, don't want to say budget necessarily, but alt strategy. So I don't think the scores on SO7 under 23 will be like, think about how high we just seen them. That's without Champ Euro. It's kind of a lot of MLS and what we've seen on that All-Star kind of run as well as South America and whatever. But yeah, I don't think under 23 scores will ever surpass All-Star or Champ SO7 scores. So in theory, of the three, it should be the, lack of a better term again, easiest mountain to climb. And if it's got 10 stars on it, or whatever, yeah, maybe that's worth swinging for. So yeah, it could be a good one. It's a hard one to kind of get in bed with, but isn't it? Because again, the cards you win, what league did they come from? How can you then capitalize on that from an in-season POV? So it gets a wee bit murky. It's not quite a clear like, oh, do this and then do that. You kind of need to do this and then see what happens.
I definitely feel like a lot of the cards I won in U23 last season were disappointing. I didn't win many actual star. Like I did come first in super rare. I think I won Tangvik, which was a pretty good one. But like in terms of like his sort of standing in world football, it's not a particularly great one because he's one move away from being sat on a bench somewhere for a long time.
Yeah.
But for now, he's a good card. Do you know what I mean? He's a good card at least until his season's finished. But yeah, the good thing about him was he's still got quite a few years of U23 utility if he stays where it stays put for another year or two. But it's that's been the most difficult thing was you can do really well in U23 and win a star, but the star might just be someone who happened to be expensive because new season cards came out or someone moved, and the spikes in sort of the prices and the pools changed so much in U23 that one thing it was a little bit difficult, obviously, seeing that little cash reward that was there is now not there. But there are more star cards to be won. You just got to hope that the pools are improved. I think in terms of like player pools, I still think it's mad that with fewer and fewer cards being won on the leaderboards, that people are still winning like tier 4s and 5s that are like just squad players that don't get minutes. I don't think there's enough players on the game now that we shouldn't be winning cards from leaderboards of like players that have not started 60% of the last 5 games, because you've got the data on that. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't, if your player hasn't played a game for 2-3 weeks, they shouldn't be in a pool. I don't think they should exist in a pool. You can.
Well, the lowest pool they should be paying out now is tier 2. So you're quite right. If they're getting into a tier 2 pool, then it's dicey.
I've definitely won tier 2s that don't play. That's the thing that annoyed me last season, was like it'll be like a young up and coming player who maybe is expensive because he's hyped up at the club, whatever, but he still hasn't played a minute of like pro football. I'm like, I would have much rather just had a dependable, like boring player from another team that I can use next week rather than this player that might be of use. Because I think now we're in a very much in-season game. If you're not winning a card you can use next week, it's just a bit deflating. And I think like before, where if you won a U23 card like that, it was like, that's all right. He's a prospect. A couple of seasons time, his card will be one of the most sought after cards on the U23. But we know the rule changes and things happen so much now that you can't. Winning a card that might be good in 2 seasons is not a win, in my opinion. You need it to be good now. Like if I'm not winning a card I can use next week, it doesn't feel like a win to me.
Yeah, a card that will be good in the future is like a consolation prize now, isn't it? It's like, okay, well, at least at some point, yeah, it's not like, oh, brilliant, can't wait to use this guy in 3 seasons from now. I'm with you there.
Yeah, definitely, and just especially, yeah, it is an in-season thing now, and as well, like the amount of cards we look back on now in our galleries, and it's like, I would have bought hot prospect kids for like 300-400 quid a few years ago that I've still not used, but now, even if they become useful this season, they're not going to be worth anything close to what I paid for them with the sort of like foresight that I thought I had at the time. But that's the game, I guess. But I think we know where we're at now. I don't know about you, but I think like the idea of these cards becoming like highly sought after collectibles as NFTs, I'm not sure if your view on that's changed, or I find it hard to believe that the NFT thing will happen again. I feel like that was like a bit of a bubble. I'm not sure.
I think like, I don't know if my views ever really changed on it so much, because I've always kind of felt like again, like I'll tell this story quite briefly, right? But when I was growing up, it was Pokemon cards, right? And then as I got a bit older, I ended up getting into some of these people, again, don't judge me or anything, right? It's a quick story. I won't digress too long, right? But I ended up getting into a thing called magic cards. I've maybe mentioned this before. I don't know, right? And throughout my high school, pocket money, school runs, kitchen jobs, whatever, I was quite happy to spend my pocket money or my free income, as it were, on more cards. You go to the shop, you can buy ones out the binder. It's much more commonplace today than it was 20 years ago or whatever when I was doing it, certainly. And anyway, spent a lot of money on them, yada yada. Grew up, got a job, had a life, whatever. Was moving house, and I must have been like 24 or something like that. And I came across them all, and I thought, oh, I spent a wedge on all these, by the way. They've been in here at mint, they've not been touched in years. Let's take them into the shop and let's see what they're worth. And I can just give you the punchline dead quickly. The guy had a wee flick through the folder, and he's like, "Nah, it's not really anything here, mate. Like, as if it's just a batch of random crap. I've just brought them in." And then went on eBay, and I thought, maybe he's trying to do me. Maybe he's trying to stiff me out of one or two here. The internet will save me. I put them on eBay, and I thought, what did I pay for this guy? And I could kind of remember roughly, like, oh, I had to save up for that guy and whatever else. Listed them all in 2 hours, and I was getting messages from people saying, like, making fun of me for how much I'd listed them up for. Like you're never going to sell it at this price. What are you doing? And you should go on this website and cross-reference everything, blah, 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 whatever. And that was like ultimately a bit of a cold shower for me. So anyway, I wind that into Sorare. So I've always been quite cognizant of the fact that, age isn't a de facto thing for collectability. Like, even if it is like a popular game or franchise or whatever. But the number one thing that kind of comes in with is, with Sorare, there's always going to be more cards. It's always been the thing that's always been there. And again, it's all about, with Magic and with Pokemon and with all these other things that you want to draw parallels to, there's 2 things that will stand the test of time. Number one is cards that are really good at the game, like cheat codey cards, or ones that are just like spicy, they just do something a bit different. And then number 2, like genuine promo rare version type things that only come out once in a while. So as I look at Sorare right now, I don't really think my opinion is any different. I think, like, if I'm going into the classic market, I will always pay more for, or be likely to buy, the special editions that exist out there, or a jersey number or a number 1, that kind of thing. And the market now is full of, and again, a lot of you guys depend on your age range, might have grown up with Pokemon cards or whatever, but there is a million Diglets now in the Sorare space. You know what I mean? And Pidgeys and whatever else. Like, there's so many of those guys in the sphere now. Yeah. And that's what they're all priced. Limited's at 50p and 80p, and
they'd be lower if you could as well. Like, there's some of you do get the odd like offer, don't you? Of like your red X cards, and it'll be like they just want them for like 10p each. And if they give you, if you can get rid of enough of them in one front, you might just go like, sweet, clear the gallery out. And now obviously with slabbing and all that, and it's like, if you can seal it and get that, if it pushes you into the next bonus tier, then why wouldn't you accept 10p to get rid of a load of junk in your gallery? But that was a, I don't know about you, but were you tempted to buy more cards to slab? That was a thing I was trying to work out, whether people were going to end up doing that. And I think I was trying to work out, because I had a few legend cards that were obviously pretty much useless for years, and then this came about, and it's like, oh, they're worth about 200 points each. And I thought, well, I don't know whether I'm better off sealing this or selling it, because I could probably get a few quid for like my Van Basten. I don't really want to let my Zidane one go because of again, like, this is where I'm kind of contradicting myself, because I'm talking about not really things being collectible, but my Zidane's number 21 of 1,000, and that was his squad number at Juve at the season that he played in the World Cup. Obviously, his card, he's wearing the number 10, and he's playing for France. But I was obsessed with Zidane at that time, and that 21 was his squad number, and that was my squad number at clubs if I had the choice, because of Zidane. So my number 21 of 1,000 might not look like a shirt number card, but it is to me, because at his club side at that time in his career, that's what he was wearing. But yeah, I wouldn't sell that. That one's slabbed, and probably stay slabbed in my collection for a while. But yeah, it's interesting. I did wonder, like, I did start scouring the market, and there was, you know, you look at like the Bales and the Tony Cruises and that it definitely put the price of those up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, some of those ones that do have good points values, you can see it on their player page now when you click onto it. When it just like the little info box that's on the card, it'll tell you their vault value now. Harry Trades did some great content around looking at vault points per pound. And I think like the 200 point cards is the highest points you can get. I think like the cheapest ones of them, you find them around the, I'm going to say 38 to 55 pound range if you're really like sleuthing around looking for them. I'm not willing to spend money on cards to shelf or to vault. I've actually got a fair amount already that could just go in there. But you know, it goes up to 20%. You know, it does go blooming well high, and that is on not streaks, but like, you know, leaderboard rewards. And you know, there's something to be said for having that available to you, but you know, will the goalposts of it never change? It's kind of hard to really bank on that, isn't there?
You'd
And
have
then
to,
number two, like how much are you spending to achieve that? Is it even possible for it to welly out on itself? I'm not sure. But in terms of like the collectible cards, I think the vaulting cosmetics does add, because again, if you're vaulting like a special edition Tony Groos or something like that, like you maybe will pay, oh well, I know I could get this random guy for £2 that's the same amount of points, but this Groos is a £5. I don't mind because that Groos is actually going to look really good in my vault for whatever reason, you know. So it's maybe gave, I don't know if it's gave a market to those kind of things, but it's definitely gave them, you know, a little bit more of consideration, I think.
I think like I vaulted my Musiala card just because he's injured. I thought I'll unvault him when he starts getting back into the first team. But I think if there is any play, it's like picking up the in-season cards of players who go out on long-term injury, because you'll get more points for them because they're in season and they might be like first team players and they might be under 23. And it's like you pick up one of them when they pick up an injury and slab it, you're probably going to get way more points than you would doing anything else. I reckon that might be something that gets nerfed somewhere down the line. Is like, oh, you know, their points will change if they get like a 5 month injury or something like that. It's, you try and slab it, it's like, oh, it's gone down to like 5 points. You got to be smart. But yeah, Musiala I feel like that might be like there might be like a little trade there. If you just pick up a load of Musialas, slab them, and then when he comes back, you know, the price is probably going to be more, but also you've got that vault score, or you'll have it until you obviously unwrap those, but you could only do one every 2 weeks, so you couldn't get away with doing it too often. Like, it'd be like one of them things. But for me, I was just like, I don't think I've got anything else that's like currently sealed that is realistically of any use. There's a few like goalkeepers that sit on the bench, like career bench sitters, and a few retired players and a few legend cards. That was about it, really. I think I'm up to about 3% on rare and about 4% on limited. And I don't know how much further that will go for me. I definitely won't be buying cards to slab them. Not in the current state of affairs.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm actually up to 3% with what I've got already there. I put 3 Jotas on ice because he's injured until December or something.
Yeah.
And I maybe had like somebody else that was kind of like that I know is only temporarily in there. But I didn't want to go overboard with Vault and all the guys I believe that I know will be useless, because already after that first week, SO7, like, I don't know who you write off anymore in your gallery for never going to play this guy. It's 4 teams, it's SO7, different game weeks, different parts of the season, you know, so I didn't want to overcommit to it, but I'm definitely open to like vaulting more as I go on from the existing gallery. But yeah, I'm definitely not like going into the market for them. I'm not sure that's, for me, kind of capital well spent at this point, because again, another good point Harry makes about this is like you need to be hitting in-season leaderboards to make it worthwhile. If you're not hitting in-season leaderboards, then it's absolutely pointless, you know, like does nothing for you. I think Essence, it helps, so depending on how that works or whatever, maybe it's not an absolute statement, but it's pretty close to it.
Yeah, it makes sense, because the benefit is when you win. If you don't win, then there is no benefit. So yeah. that makes sense to me, definitely. But yeah, it's a nice feature. I think it's the closest thing to like back in the day when they were talking about card burning and stuff. This is like probably a better alternative, really. to just burning players and burning you're essentially taking them out of the market, aren't you? So you're increasing scarcity, but I don't think many people are going to be slabbing like really useful cards. If you look on the market, or if you look at like Haaland or something, not many of his cards are slabbed. Do you know what I mean? Or like a Kimmich or something like that. Not many people are going to be like sealing cards like that. So there'll still be a lot of them in the market.
They look cool, don't they?
Yeah, they do look good. So you've sealed a lot of your old Celtic players there.
I've got some guys like Stephen Welsh, but it's like I know I will never need 4 Stephen Welshes, you know. Right. So I think the line I've got is 3. So I think if I've got 4 of someone, or maybe it's 2 or whatever, but I kind of made that decision of like, for the guys I've got multiples of, like, how many do I really need? I'm never going to need 4. What is the number? And yeah, there's 1 Welsh in here. There's 2. Yes, I think I decided 2 is enough.
Yeah.
For some of those guys I've got multiples of. But yeah, for the most part, it's just guys that, you know, are not going to play or are injured, a few retirees and stuff like that. And these look good, man. But
yeah.
That's like a good, it's not a 3D card, sadly, so it doesn't flip around for us, which is a bit of a flying the ointment there for the design, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah, I like those old ones, special, you know, that's cool. That's a cool one, you know, retired guy.
Definitely looks good. Heber. He was a good little cheat code for a few weeks, wasn't he? At the end of last season when he moved. Was he playing in China or something like that for a bit, or Brazil?
Yeah, China. He did well, China.
Where's he gone now?
Yeah, I think he's maybe China Division 2 or retired or something, but he's like off the map now.
Yeah.
Rookies look good in it as well. There's a 3D rookie. So these little prospects, there's a few guys like that I picked up last year that I bought this guy and maybe 1 or 2 others because I seen them play against Celtic B in the Celtic Youth Champions League. So I thought, that's a cool card, I'll buy that. There's one of them at Bruges this year, so I'll probably do the same. Again, this guy's probably never getting into a team. Let's see what happens. But just like, you know, throw him in. Already bought him for no reason. So if I do any purchases like that, again, maybe that's what it is. But I don't think it adds a motivation to it or an extra justification for a purchase, you know. This is the mistake I made. I thought this guy was going to be out for most of the season, but he's actually playing pre-season, which is good for me, good for him. But I need to wait 1 or 2 days, which is fine. Plenty of time before the Italian league comes back. But that was the mistake I made. The rest of them are dead for the most part. Kyogo, maybe I'm wrong with. Maybe I want all my Kyogos if he slays it at Birmingham. Maybe he gets the golden boot in the championship or something, you know. Maybe I want all of them, but can't imagine I want all of them. So again, put one of him in.
Depends how many lineups you got as well, doesn't it? Like you have got a fair few lineups out to need multiple players who are that, you know, like that nailed on to score well. But, yeah, it is like playing a different game again, isn't it? Like at the moment, really,
it's quite
big change, definitely.
Yeah, because there's all the in-game mission stuff getting added into it as well. Like I managed to squeeze out. I actually won a streak this week in Contender. I think it'll be one of the last times I get a Contender team out, just because obviously Celtic have moved into Challenger, and it was like a pure odds and sods team, and it just about got over the line. So I got the wee notification that I'd won $15 or whatever.
Yeah,
and I've used that money to go and buy 2 really cheap in-season SPFL cards. It's like a little parting gift from Contender to Challenger, you know, before the new season shakes out. But yeah, I don't think I'll get this team to be in season again this year. Maybe I will, but I doubt it. But yeah, there's more things going on, more kind of different. Sorry, sound cheesy.
Surprised that you win the game. Claim that before this game week had closed out, because I managed to get 2 hot streak cash rewards. I think one was MLS and one was Contender. But yeah, I had to like claim that while the game week was still live. I don't know if that was the same for you, but now I can't see any record of like how much, because I still collect my rewards in ETH, and I can't see how much I won in ETH. I can't see that it landed or any transaction history there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it needs to be made a bit clearer, because you can see it. I can see it on missions. It's like already collected. but that's it. I have to go all the way down to the bottom, get into the previous game week to see. But I can see, yeah, that my contenders rare is into the second week of hot streak, and then limited contender. So it's contender, limited, and rare. I did it in not MLS. Missed out on MLS.
So these little side missions as well, but they're good fun. Like Scottish double up. I think this will be for the weekend, won't it? Have a player in your lineup score 2 goals in Scotland, $5 market credit. This midweek we're in at the moment. Get a player. Essentially, it's MLS versus Liga Mexico in the Leagues Cup. So get a player in that competition to get 1 positive decisive action. $5 of market credits there for you. So, like net put this on Twitter, like this kind of page, and like between all this stuff, like it does feel that obviously that these missions aren't open yet. We'll see these as the season comes out, I'm sure. But there is like, it is more of a game to be played, isn't it? As well as setting lineups and fantasy football and all that. But there is like, you know, I really like this XP thing. Do you do this, the daily decisives?
Yeah. I have a look at it every day.
It.
Yeah, I normally put goalkeepers in, just like stick a goalie in, unless I've got a really good goal scorer. It's normally just looking for a goalkeeper who's playing. Yeah, I've had some luck there, and yeah, I've been powering cards up today, so I've been making use of the XP that I've won. And yeah, all these things definitely help now. I think, you know, you can see a bit more of where these bonuses go, and yeah, like you said, the daily missions is quite good, especially when you're looking at market credit there as well. I think when I bought the MLS cards recently, I think I bought all of them with market credit. I think I had like £90 of market credit saved up, so I essentially paid the half price up to that value. So my market credits are down right now, but it'd be nice to chip away at building that back up again. Hopefully.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have some coming into this season, but I had zero credits.
They started to run out, didn't they? And I think that might have been why I was like, right, I need to spend them, because the countdown clock was going down on the credit I had.
So yeah, that was a weapon I wasn't able to use myself for my early access, like foray, as it were, or foray into the market. Celtic will start their season this weekend, so it'll be kind of all battle stations for me.
Yep.
On that front, which would be good. It'd be good to get the season started. But on Thursday is when the Premier League drops, and is when those loyalty boxes can be opened. So I think that this week is going to be party time. Nicholas is always tweeting. I don't know if you still catch all his tweets on Twitter, but he keeps saying more soon. There's more coming. There's more coming. You know, like, so this is all pretty good and fun right now as it is anyway. But it feels like this is kind of the warm up, and I think once we get the Champ Euro stuff coming out, there'll be announcement or development or unveiling of things, because he keeps talking a bit more. There's more coming. There's more soon. Well,
I'm going to be watching with bated breath as my gold box opens in a couple of days' time, and that might dictate how heavy I go into the market over the coming days. But I feel like those Premier League pre-season cards are going to be pretty insane, and I don't imagine I'll be getting too involved in any of that for a few game weeks. Maybe wait until we're about a quarter of the way through the season, then dip in then. But
is this not the year to be tempted by Man United, Sish? No midweeks to worry about, spending big money.
I'm not feeling that confident again. I'm not going to lie. I think it'll be an improvement, but an improvement on last season would be mid-table. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of where my sights are set. If we can finish in the top half, as annoying as it is to admit it, I think that would be progress. I think after last season, I think we can finish inside the top 10. Obviously, you want to compete for something. So, depending on how the season pans out, you know, wherever we are in the league come sort of December, and what cups we're in and stuff like that. But I think he's improved the squad, but he's alienated a fair few players in that dressing room. I don't think he's got the dressing room on side just yet, but I might be wrong. I just always get a weird vibe from managers that completely like freeze players out the way that he's done it. I think it's a bit unusual. our club is paying these players 300 grand a week, whether they turn up for training or not. So why would you make them go and train with the reserves that, like, just because you don't fancy them? Like, it's not a disciplinary reason. It's just they're looking to leave. They can't be with the first team. It's just a bit petty, I think. And I can't. I mean, I think Ten Hag was a bit like that as well, and he was rubbish. So, like, I don't miss him. I think Amorim's better tactically, but I do think his man management is a little bit. There's a little bit off for me. I think we need to find a balance of someone with a bit of tactical prowess, but I mean, there's a few players in that team that probably only need an arm around them and a couple of friends in the dressing room, and they'll start play with a bit of freedom again. I don't know. Maybe the fact that people don't see United as a threat at the moment could play into the favour of a lot of those like attacking players a bit more, because teams will come at United rather than sit back and absorb the way they used to. I don't think we're that club anymore. So hopefully the football will improve. And with the football improving, the morale improves, and then everything improves. But yeah, I'm not massively confident. Definitely not.
Fair enough. I think Mbeumo and Cunha are pretty good moves, man. I think they could change these in a big way, you know.
They are. I hope
it's not the be all and end all. Obviously, there's more problems to fix, isn't there? But
the only issue I've got is like, how do you fit those two and Bruno and probably Ahmad? Like, he seems to be the only wide forward that hasn't been ostracised so far. So that is, I think a lot of them operate in similar areas, and it's going to be interesting to see how he tactically figures that out and keeps everyone happy and makes it work. But yeah, I'm excited for the season to start, but I'm not going to. You're not going to hear Champions League football coming out of my mouth. Not anytime soon, anyway. We'll see.
But, yeah, fair enough, man. Yeah. See, I just think there's good history in the Premier League for the bigger club that doesn't make Europe one year. It's happened to a few of them over the years. Tend to do quite well in the league that season thereafter, because there's just less pressure and, less actual fixture pressure also, and I don't know, Cunha and Mbeumo have done it in the league already.
Yep.
So, it's just about really, translating that into the Man United, isn't it? I don't know. I just, when you started speaking about it, I thought, oh, surely this is the year Stish does get a Man United stack into his life, because it's a weekend-only club right now.
Yeah, I think
that's quite a good thing. Sometimes.
There's players in the team that I think will be good, like especially SO5 as well. But I think, just as a fan, like thinking about it now, if you told me we were going to finish 5th or 6th next season, that would be massive. And like in previous seasons, it's like the thought of not qualifying for the Champions League is a disaster. But I don't think we can go in with that expectation this year. 5th or 6th would be incredible, let alone 4th upwards. Like if we qualified for Europe, or even if we won the FA Cup or something like that, winning the FA Cup would be good. But if finishing top 6 next season would be absolutely enormous, I think. And if he did that, you'd have to back him again in the summer, and then you would expect the following season to be like, right, we build now. But the problem is the club's got so many other issues with the stadium and all that kind of stuff as well. It's like, there's a lot to deal with there.
Because I said this in a video that's been recorded. I think it'll be out in the next couple of days for anyone that's not a member on the channel. But I genuinely think I think the Premier League is kind of, somebody that says this all the time, it could be the best year ever or whatever. See, when you look at the Man City team, you look at the Liverpool team, even the strengthening that Arsenal have done, and it's before you even get to the best of the rest teams that are doing pretty good business nowadays, like the top end of the league. Like, I make it right, Man United are never going to get anywhere near probably that top 3, top 4 area, but I fancy them to maybe just revert back to, where they believe they should have been maybe before. But like when you think about that from a Sorare point of view, like normally we see like Palmer goes for a lot, we see Salah goes for a lot, Bruno, previously KDB, Rodri, whatever. But there's so many more good players now in the league. Not that many have really kind of exited, as it were. And I wonder what that does to the prices of some of those star cards. You know, do they all kind of get into that real crazy money level, or because there's more of them to be spread around, does it maybe make some of those guys, don't want to call them affordable, right? Because they won't be that, but does it make them kind of less eye-watering because there's more of them, like works at Liverpool and,
Yeah.
you know, yada yada, whatever. That's just something that came to my mind now for like anyone who might be doing early access Premier League, particularly probably at limited.
You definitely want to avoid rotation, I think, if you're trying to go in early access, because the price of those cards will drop. Even like game week 1, if like any of those big names that you've just listed like were on the bench, there would be a few people panic selling. Like the price would drop. Maybe might only be for a week or so, but yeah, like in this game, I just think you want nailed on starters who are going to like bang a lot of AA and decisives, and those players will be like, you know, like the Rodris, those dependable like 70 plus without even looking like they've done much on the pitch, and then nicks a goal or two and he's hitting 100. It's like those cards are going to be valuable. So yeah, I think it's hard, but big clubs rotate now. That's the thing as well. It's like if you look at like clubs like Palace and what they do, you can almost predict their starting 11. And you know, on a good fixture, Eze's hitting a 70 plus, Mateta's getting a 70, 80. You know, before a few seasons ago, it was Elise. He's not there now, but Wharton will probably be that guy for them this season. He'll be picking up 30, 40 AA in a game that they win. He does quite a lot, you know, like in terms of intercepting, which is, I still think interceptions are overpowered on the scoring matrix ever so slightly. But I think, what's it, 3 points for an interception? If you're playing as a defensive midfielder, you're nicking 2 or 3 of them a game. Like,
yeah, they are weighted differently for different positions, so I'm not sure who
I think
gets
midfielders get
points for it.
might be defenders, but I always like to look at interceptions as like a good indicator of something that translates well on Sorare. Interceptions is a good one. Getting those doubles in, things like that. Do you know what I mean? That's tackles and interceptions is massive, isn't it?
Big time, yeah. Good interceptions is always a good one as well for forwards and midfielders, because it gives you that extra feel of if they're feisty maybe, or they're smart, or
yeah,
it just gives you an extra wee thing. I like interceptions too. It's a good stat, but yeah, maybe it's overpowered. I think the forwards get interceptions. They don't get tackles.
They get double
interceptions. They do get a double.
They don't get individual. If they make a tackle, if they make an interception, they don't get the points. But if they make 2 or 3 of them, they do get the double. So
yeah,
they kind of add up, but it's not quite the same AA that they would get if they were a midfield card or defender. So they get those extra bonus points for that. But yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, you could argue this day and age where we're pressing from the front, maybe forwards should be getting scores for things like that.
Yeah, give them something, you know. Yeah, I'm not too sure what else to kind of pick up with, Stish. Is there anything else you want to touch on today? Getting back together. I'm just trying to think.
I think we've covered a lot, mate. It's just like, it's nice to hear that everyone's getting excited with the new in seasons, and yeah, I'm buzzing to see what these crafts look like pretty soon. I might even give one a go this evening. But I think off the back of this chat, I'm definitely going to get myself on YouTube and catch up on what everyone's been up to in the market, and all this sort of like pounds, like you were saying, what Harry's been talking about. I've sort of caught the edge of you and Harry on a Twitter live a couple of times, but I haven't managed to sit and like listen to it in the car, that kind of thing.
Sure. I've been playing that content on this channel, on Harry's channel, on everyone's channel. It feels like over the last couple of weeks anyway. So if you've got some catching up to do, Stish, I'm sure you'll have a good binge on your hands. Good kind of crash course and all the rest of it.
That's it.
But no, man, it's been great to see you again. I look forward to running through the season again, and yeah, really glad we could get back together this week before we get all the madness really start to happen from the weekend onwards.
Definitely, we'll be keeping an eye out for these early access cards for the Premier League and see what kind of prices we're seeing. That'll be a good indicator of how wild things are going to get that first few game weeks, I think.
Definitely. Awesome. Thanks everyone that's tuned in as well to the live recording, I guess, on YouTube, and maybe it's on Twitch or Twitter. I think it's only YouTube. But thanks everyone. Have a good day.
Cheers all.